Welcome, everybody. My name is Trent, aka TD. I'm joined by my co-host Josh from Stratton Studios, Burst of Energy from Atomic Kings, and we have the RFOX team. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you, and hope you are too.
Doing great, thanks.
Yeah, we sure are. So you are the masterminds behind Cogs, the RFOX brand. Tell me about it. What's the origin story? Y'all are superheroes, so I'm guessing that your origin story has some sadness or something in it. Tell me what that's about.
Yeah, there's a nice little story. Yeah, so we saw that NFTs should be a thing a long time ago, back in the probably 2019 or thereabouts. We started working late 2018, and we really teamed up with Arclega, who was big from H1Z1, and a couple of other big games, PlanetSide 2. We sort of talked about the issues with games sort of shutting down servers. Look what's happened with some of these Quest games recently with Meta. People just turn off servers and walk away, and we said this can't happen.
Right.
We need to build stuff that sort of gives control back to the players, but how do we start that with something that's familiar and bring people across to this side? So we looked into POGs, which was milk caps in some parts of the world. Yeah, and we thought, let's do this stack and whack type of game to intro people in. But the cool part about that is they're also kind of like little discs that you'd find in casino chips or something like that, which are transferable across multiple games. So we really wanted to try and illustrate through that what was the easiest way to be able to show this interoperability, and also to take your assets out of one game and take them to another game. So that journey started a long time ago. Where the sad superhero story sort of comes in, we sort of, it was very hard to get people to sort of back you or to believe in what it is that you're actually trying to do. And we found a home with Wax, which was great, because Wax had sort of said, we need stuff like that, come over. So we did. We went over to Wax, and that was a really good opportunity for us to be able to sort of tap into a wonderful community. And also, obviously, transaction fees and everything were great. So it was a great opportunity. And technically speaking, the sad part about it was we'd sort of worked on it for a long time. We'd transitioned and we were getting things ready to go. And it looked like it might never happen. So if we hadn't have gone across there, it wouldn't have happened. So, yeah, eternally grateful for that. And now we've got the opportunity to sort of use this across a number of different games.
That's fantastic. And Kitty, thank you for joining us. We got Ben and Luke, the RFOX team, here with us. Gentlemen, this is Kitty. And before I go to Burst, because I know he's probably got a ton to say about your products. I know he's a huge fan. I want to ask two questions. First, to you gentlemen, I heard a rumor that COGS is an acronym. And now, is that true?
Yes.
Does COGS?
It is.
What does it stand for?
It stands for keys to other games. So going back to this this access problem that people have is the two biggest issues we were trying to look at were online theft and fraud. So how do we transfer things securely? And the second thing was the game platforms just shutting off servers and just running away. So what we said was these pieces need to be usable across a number of different games and platforms. So what would be a good acronym? And we thought keys to other games was something that was good because it was also not far removed from the initial inspiration of POGs. So COGS and POGs, COGS stayed pretty true to the naming conventions, but it also had a thought out meaning behind it.
Awesome. That's what I heard. That was the one. That's pretty clever, I must admit. Josh, being that you're in the industry, the game studio industry, and I know that you've been around Wax for some time now, from a product standpoint, what would be like the one thing that you would want to know from Luke, their CPO, in regards to just their journey from that kind of perspective? Putting you on the spot here too. This wasn't, I suppose, in our pre-interview.
The most interesting thing to me about kind of the whole ecosystem that you guys have built is how you have vertically scaled it, especially when starting to look to other creators, which are connected worlds tooling and stuff like that. How have you found that challenge of kind of I suppose, horizontally scaling your metaverse in Unity game engine, which isn't the typical game engine for an MMO, so to speak. You know, how have you kind of really pushed that forward? And with VR, just adding another layer of, you know, kind of nuance to it. You know, it definitely doesn't seem like you've taken the easy route and are taking on some hard challenges. So kind of how have you found that experience?
So it's like, I mean, like anything, this journey has been broken up into pieces. And when I started, which was last January, I was basically handed a pretty basic Unity world, but it existed, and a lot of the functionality was there, as in like multiplayer and all that sort of stuff. So we had a pretty good foundation. Graphics weren't great then, and it wasn't a focus at that point, to be honest. It was more of a proof of concept at that point, just to make sure that you know, it was going to do what we thought it was going to do. So the journey from there was really, how do we get the quality where we want it to be? How do we make this look and feel the way we want it to? And then once we had accomplished that, and we sort of started to get you know, some good improvements in the graphics, started to improve avatar movement a bit, all those things that we wanted to prove that we could do in Unity, especially in VR, because obviously VR adds another challenge. You know, you're doubling everything you're doing from a visual standpoint. Then the challenge really began to scale the thing, and to make sure that not only does it scale, but it scales at the same quality, and we're not actually compromising at all once we get to that point. So I would say from maybe about September, October, that's been our main focus. So we've got a really clever enterprise architect who's been working on back-end integration, live ops, all those sorts of things, so we can not only scale this thing, but to us, scaling is obviously important, and making sure that, you know, room sizes are quite big and we're not limiting the amount of people in a space. That's important. But the most important thing for us is making it modular, being able to take a scene like a, you know, a shop or an experience, and being able to enter that, not necessarily having to walk through the world. You can link to it externally, and being able to turn things on and off and not have to re-release code. You know, if you think that every time someone submits an experience to us and we have to go and push another update out to the store, that's not, you know, that's never going to work. It's more those technical hurdles that all projects go through that we've been focusing on for the last sort of 5 or 6 months. We're at the point now where we've nailed that stuff to the point where we can continue. We know we've gotten over those hurdles. Sure, it may not all be perfect, but it's working. We've solved the problems. We know what the direction going forward is. So that's why we're sort of now looking at getting this open beta out in this quarter, because we're finally at that stage where we don't need to build the foundation anymore. We don't need to do anything else on the back end. We're not going to do anything disruptive from this point on. All we're going to do now is just start building out, improving, getting creators in. That's really the focus now. So this is by far the most exciting part. I mean, as we've gone along, we think we hit these milestones and go, that's amazing. You know, we've done something that sort of we were scratching our heads on for 3 months, but now we're sort of at that point where we're kind of thinking, it's done, it's ready, the foundation is there, people are going to come in. I think it's going to explode from this point. All we need is the creators, and we're set. I don't think users are going to be an issue once they see it.
Awesome. Amazing.
Super cool.
All right, Bursty, I know that you have been a huge advocate for Cogs, this team, and you have to be bursting at the seams, pun intended, with questions to ask either of these gentlemen. Fire away, man.
I just wanted to touch back on what Luke was talking about, and I understand their struggles and stuff, and I talk about this all the time on Wax. The teams don't understand the mint structures that they have, and what it brings to your tokenomics or whatever, what it brings to your games. And a lot of teams just don't understand it. They're really pivoting. They're changing a lot of things. And you guys went and said, oh yeah, we've had some mistakes here and there. And I understand slams isn't the best thing, but you guys are wiping that off and rebuilding it. And you guys came out with Quest before you guys went to do that. And you guys are staying on the path. You guys are going to go back, do slams right the way you guys want to. And this is what you guys continue to do as a team. And it really impresses me on Wax, because I like talk about this 9 times out of 10, the team just doesn't figure it out. And I get what you're saying now, where you've got cogs on Wax. Now you guys got your metaverse. Is there any plans to have like I guess there's plans to have other projects on other chains that come over to RFOX eventually, like you do with the cogs here on Wax?
Yeah. So I think the easiest way to sort of explain that, you're right. Like, first of all, the first point is we do what we say we're going to do. And if you go back to our original video that we first put out on the project before we even had anything more than a beanbag, and we were sitting there with a concept, we've never changed from our end goal, but we've had to change certain aspects of getting there. You know, we've hit hurdles and roadblocks and all the rest of it, of course. And we've been told since day one, I don't know how long you've followed us, but we were told since day one publicly that what is this metaverse thing you're trying to build? You guys are idiots. No one even knows what a metaverse is. What is this thing, a world? Yeah. And then, we turned around and said, all right, just don't listen to them. They're wrong. But you also have to try and guide your people through focusing on the fact that it's right and that someday you'll get that validation, you know? But we sort of, everywhere we've gone, we've been told you need $100 million to build this, what you're trying to build, and it's going to take years and years. Well, we've had years and years, and we've got to a point that we are at MVP. 100%. And we never got any funding at all, none. Yeah. So we bootstrapped the whole way. So the thing is that, the team's got up to 120 odd people at times when we've scaled up and down. And the thing is that it's extremely important that we remain focused. But what we want to do is make it that we've always said that the apps that we build would plug into our platform, which is the Vault. That's like the power board and the rest of the plugs. So we will have a lot of other projects come in and build in the actual Vault itself. So they'll plug in their applications and scenes. So we've always tried to be as inclusive as possible, but we do have a few things that we're about to roll out that we haven't really talked about yet that will sort of help to make that a bit more cohesive, and it will allow projects to more easily integrate. So that's kind of the next exciting phase.
So I did get into Sale 1, just so you know where I've been. I've been with you guys since the start. It's funny because on Wax, there's a lot of teams, they'll take their project, they'll pivot and go and use that hype word metaverse. And I'm like, all right, you guys realize what RFOX has been doing for some time and what they've been building. You guys have like 3 years to catch up. You can't just pivot and make a metaverse. And I've talked your guys' metaverse up because it's been building from the start to finish here. And that's where people need to put their time. I feel, as collectors and gamers and developers, I think you need to put time where these teams have been building it for this long, because metaverse right now is a big hype word. A lot of metaverses have been worked on for less than a year or have just over a year. And that's not enough time. And what I'm seeing with you guys is it's impressive because you guys got the Racina Fear, Forest of Evil and Rotten, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about as well today too, with the apartment sale as well too. So
it's been good. It's been a good journey.
Yeah, sorry, I'm really stoked that I'm chatting with you because I'm really impressed. And like, I'm not impressed with a lot of teams on Wax, and I'm very abrasive, and I'm known to be sort of opinionated. And I just look out for my guys. Stabbed in the back.
Well, mate, I appreciate that, and I know that you've been around a long time, and that means a lot coming from you. And I think the thing is that the only thing you've got left at the end of the day is integrity, right? And you can get called whatever you like, but the thing is, the most important thing in this space is that you are building in a new frontier. You're going to fall over, and you're going to fall over a 100%. Lot, right? So when people kick you, it's a matter of whether you can stand back up and say, I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And people think that a sign of getting up and saying, let's pivot and go in a completely different direction because people aren't happy is a sign of strength, but it's actually a sign of weakness. What you need to do is stay focused, make sure that you deliver what you talked about delivering at all costs,
100%.
And ignore the noise, because the noise is just going to derail you. And then you're going to end up building something that you didn't intend building, that you're not good at building or you're not passionate about. And then you end up just trying to scratch your head to work out how to, but the route we've taken, we've chosen the hardest possible tech. We've chosen a very long path. We've focused on VR, which is considered to be a niche. NFTs were a niche at that time. Metaverses were a niche. But the fact is that the culmination of these things coming together is inevitable. And it's just a matter of being set up with the lemonade stand when everyone arrives. And that's the goal. So thank you very much for the feedback. Appreciate it. But it's not ever an easy, we have to continually lift ourselves and the team to try and keep focus. It's never easy.
So I guess I'm going to ask a couple COGS questions, and then we can go over to the apartment sale. I think it would make more sense just for users and stuff, because your users are wax based mainly. So I think if we had a way to get a new user in to maybe be inclined to this upcoming apartment sale for the vault, is there a way to get the information of tackling what you need to claim for an apartment on COGS? And I guess what would be the best cost-effective way to come up to this sale as a wax user, say, holding maybe a couple COGS right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the apartment sale kicks off tomorrow, and that's at like 0.25 of an ETH. But I know that some of the people in the community have sort of sat down with spreadsheets and worked out, if they were to purchase from scratch, how much would it cost in COGS to get the apartment claim? And depending on what you do based on that, the type and the redemption type, it is possible that you can definitely score that for less than the 0.25. If you follow other avenues or routes that are harder to collect, it's going to take time and cost you a lot more money. But it could well be that if you've been in the COGS community for some time, especially first edition, that you may have COGS that do not need to be burned or used in the redemption process. Effectively, you get them, you get the apartment for having that. Some of the edition 2 and 3, you have to burn a lot of those COGS to redeem. So that's the moral dilemma of, do you want to burn your COGS? But we are always going to be looking to try and be deflationary. We're going to always try and use COGS as there'll be confetti COGS that are used as access or tokens. So the best way to approach it would be to have a look at what you have if you already have got COGS. If you haven't, there's also some people that have been long-standing in the community that have packaged deals that might end up being 0.2 or something, that take all the headaches out of it. So you go straight in and you can buy exactly what you would need to redeem straight out. So you don't have to worry about, how do I tube? What sets do I need? So over in Discord, we've got a group of people that have been around since the beginning that are super helpful in making that transition easy.
And I think that's a good point you brought up the Discord there, because your community is phenomenal for trading, for giving feedback to other users. And I think that would be a great answer for somebody who's, maybe a little bit unaware or uneducated, to figure out where they need to be to get into the whole ecosystem with RFOX. And I think going into their Discord is the best thing you can do. Ask a million questions too. That's all.
Do we have a link on that? What's the can we post that up or put it on the screen here?
Yeah, I can grab it right now. Yep.
Yeah. Do y'all have a vanity URL?
I got it right now.
I don't think it's a vanity, right, Luke?
I don't think we got a vanity one though.
I put it on the private chat, and yeah, so there you go. And that's the RFOX Discord.
Yeah.
And you can scale down the left side, and you'll get different aspects to their whole project. You'll get your COGS and games, your metaverse, stuff like that, whatever you need.
Mm.
Yeah, that was kind of
really what people are talking about at the moment on Discord. It's like obviously it's a hot topic because it's coming up, but there's, as Ben said, there's plenty of assembled tubes on there on Atomic Hub that you can go and buy. So it's definitely a valid way of doing it.
Right.
So I guess I don't know what I feel embarrassed asking this. What's a tube compared to a cog, or what am I looking for here? If I were
when you're a kid, I'm sure no matter where you grew up, you would have had some sort of thing where you went to the shop with your. I'll speak a bit of Australian here. You went to the deli with your parents and you had some cards in a pack with some chewing gum, or you had sticker books and you used to collect all the stickers, right? And you'd finish a page. So the tubes are effectively a completed set. So if you started completing a border type or a theme set and you've got them all, then you can complete a tube. So tubes are the kind of like the way to say I've actually started the journey, finished the journey for that particular border or set or theme, and I've collected the set. So it's kind of like the tube's kind of like a badge of honor.
Nice. Awesome. All right.
And that was that chart I shared in your chat there, TD, with the numbers, and you go across, redeem for the apartment, how many you need, does it burn type thing. Those are
that's
the
starting to make
tubes.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So the apartment sale is when, the 8th, I believe, right? That's Wednesday.
Yep, starts tomorrow. Yep. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Vietnam, which is 5 p.m. Singapore.
When you say tomorrow, so you're living in the future, right?
Yeah, we're living in the future. Yeah. Sorry.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
How many apartments are there total for the sale and redeemable?
So 10,000 is the total. 3,000 are going for sale, and then 4,400 are redeemable. Now we did get the question of, it's a lot of redeemable apartments, but the thing is that while we're building and people have been patient, and we also always make sure that we try and look after people that have been in the community for some period of time, and that's no different than someone buys a Bored Ape and then they get a mutant ape serum drop, or they get some sort of entitlement, So we wanted to make sure that there was a fair allocation to the people that were in and believers in what it is that we're doing. So and then the rest of the apartments are basically allocated to people that bought OG citizens. So there was 1,300 of those on sale originally. They all get 2 apartments and a standard avatar. So that's where the rest of the 10,000 go for the people that entered the original avatar sale.
Reed's dad got number 1 OG.
What?
Yeah. Holy wow, that's fantastic.
Reed's pop. That's my partner, and I brought his dad over. His dad aped. Loves what you guys do. It's good shit.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah. So can you explain the difference between the citizens and the apartments and kind of what they entail?
Luke, you can do that one.
Yeah. So originally when we sold the OG citizens, the citizens are the inhabitants of the vault, but they're also, from the NFT standpoint, they're avatars. So they're going to be rigged and rigged in the actual vault, and they'll work like any other avatars in the vault. But obviously having a unique avatar is a pretty cool thing, having something nobody else has got. The OGs will be a real status symbol as well. Being one of the originals is obviously a really cool thing to have. So the original sale was based on that, and the apartments and the non-OG citizens, the standard citizens, were dropped subsequently. But for this sale, it's being flipped. We're selling the apartments, and then the citizens are being dropped from there. So I think having the apartments built now, and you can actually go and we can walk in there. They're in 3D. We can show these things. They're not pictures. They're not models. They're not videos. They're built. So I think that's a very different. It's a very different situation than we were in when we did the OG citizen sale, because being able to touch and feel them, I think obviously shows people how valuable these things are, and they are real, and they're amazing. The Sky apartment, which is the most rare and the biggest, that's the one we've been showing a lot lately, and we're working on a WebGL build, which is like a web version of that for our site, so people will be able to walk in and navigate around that apartment and have a look firsthand. So we're trying to get that up in the next couple of days.
I think the really important thing to know about the citizens and also the apartments is we've always tried to push the boundaries. We've looked at intelligent NFTs. We've looked at different ways you can actually get utility instead of just a PFP. So we're really, and it's going to be initiated very quickly as well, initiating governance and voting rights attached to the avatars and also the apartments. So the core world, the platform, is something that we've always have to maintain, and we have to make sure that it's kept up and all the rest of it. But ultimately, these actual shop spaces and apartments are your personal spaces. They can be customized. We're doing AI integration, so you can be you can be a no-code dude, and you can come in and you can voice to text and say, I want to change the wall art to a snowy mountain, and it will create that in AI and update that. So that's amazing. But then the other thing is, we'll give you governance rights so that you can actually say, vote on projects, creation of projects, collabs, some of the type of the initiations and integrations that we do, you can vote on. So what we've done is always said, we'll get the platform built, we'll get the platform rolled out, and the products that we bring out will be showcases of what can be done using the tools that we have. But we are humble enough to understand that we're never going to build the best game on our platform. We're never going to build the best of all of these products.
Yeah,
there's really smart, creative people out there. And right now, when everyone's out of work, lost their jobs, looking for change and all the rest of it, if we can say, you can come in, you can collab, you can build your own community, and we're going to help people be able to do that. And you can launch products and services, and you don't need to be a computer whiz and coder, then this is great. And the great part about it is we've got a law behind the citizens that basically says, we'll tell you what's happened up till now. Many of these metaverses have got completed laws with outcomes and everything. But the thing is, if you're going to be behind the avatar, you decide what happens. You're voting on what happens. How can you write law that hasn't happened? So what we're doing is saying, these are your avatar, they're a flex, they're a status symbol, they're also voting rights, governance, and a chance for you to create what happens next in this space, which inevitably becomes your space as we say, now the platform is open.
So is it one vote per entity, or how's your governance model working, like a TLDR?
Yeah. So we're just basically going to say, if you're an OG, you effectively get double the governance rights or voting rights as a standard citizen. That's it. That's as simple as that. And apartment holders and shop owners are also going to get governance as well. So if you bought multiple things, it is possible to pool that governance, and that will also benefit greater from staking and rewards. So we've got another number of other projects coming in, and Rasnia we have acquired because we think it's a great showcase. But there'll be lots of people coming in.
Sorry.
We've got a VR game inside of the vault that was built independently. That is actually fully functioning VR game. It's a capture the flag, jump scare type of get a diamond and get out of the castle before some ghoul scares the living bejesus out of you. Wow. And it's a great use case because a lot of the blockchain games are very basic. So we wanted to try and have a great visual display that wowed people coming in. And the great part about it was they hadn't turned on any sort of play to earn mechanics or launched it properly yet. So we've got an opportunity to really work this in. And it's a great showcase for what type of visual quality you can already produce inside of the vault. Now, the mind-blowing part we might not have got across is Luke and the team have worked out how to make it, because scaling's a big issue. So we've got this platform. Think of the vault as a circle, and all of these people that are coming in are clicking onto the outside of that, all of these shops. And like Luke said, you don't want to have to upgrade and put out a new app every time someone makes a code change. So when you walk into their little world, it'll update and upgrade whatever it is that you haven't had access to since the previous build. Yeah. So,
Kitty, it's
so that's a
Am I meant to go in there and play that later?
You will.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, nice.
All right.
It's actually
sorry. I had to mute and I might mute it.
Oh, it's more scary than you might even imagine. It's so immersive that it actually is scary, even if you're conscious of the
I feel like I've seen that footage before.
All right.
I think it's as good as any other game in the Oculus store. It's the quality.
Yeah.
I remember playing the Resident Evil one on PlayStation on VR, and yeah, that scared the shit out of me.
This will be the same.
All right. Okay.
What and Josh, you said this is built on Unity, or I guess I can ask these.
Yeah, Unity.
Yeah, everything's Unity. We're not wavering on that. Like we said at the start, it's not. I mean, a lot of people have called us crazy for doing that because it obviously complicates things, but we're not compromising on quality. And Unity is so big, we wanted to hitch our wagon to something that is going to be around for a long time.
We keep getting told all the time, you should build an Unreal 5 because it's so much better graphics and all the rest of it. People don't understand the limitations of the Quest headsets and the headset technology at this stage. People think that you can have this AAA quality game with massive heavy scenes and all the rest of it, and it'll just work fine on VR. It doesn't work.
Yeah,
and the technical debt that we'd have to incur to not build VR first, and I won't mention other metaverses names, but the technical debt that they've already incurred, if they try and go across to VR, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah.
VR is a different beast. And this is something that amazes me about what you guys have done. Like, having worked on some AAA VR titles across the board, like, we threw the books at it, like, to really get VR to work well. It's a difficult challenge to solve. And then adding the metaverse side on top of that is like, it blown my mind, really. And the visuals too. Visuals are another thing that people like, and I'm going to go a little bit nerdy here for a second, but like, people don't know that, like, you know, you're limited to a couple hundred draw calls per like scene. Overdraw becomes big issues. All these sort of technical challenges that the Oculus does have. It's a great piece of toolkit, don't get me wrong, but it has a lot of scaling issues as it goes. And, you know, it's just not where other platforms are at. So you can't just take any other, you know, random Unity game and just drop it in and expect it to work. It's got to be architected for VR and built from the ground up, so the experience is not only intuitive for the player, but the synergy loop is just, you know, immersive. And you guys have done that, and you're doing that. And the thing that I like about it too is when someone says to me, and kind of this hones back to Burst's point earlier, when someone says to me, oh, I've worked on the metaverse for a year, I'm saying, okay, you better have 1,000 people, otherwise, you know, this isn't probably going to be what we're thinking. You know, let's get the basics right. And you guys have taken the time, and a team that always takes the time and says it's going to be ready when it's ready, not when it's like it's going to be finished when it's done, and when the quality is where you guys want it to be. And I really love that you guys are doing like all the sort of connected world stuff, allowing other people to build scenes and kind of really bring them in, fostering the creator ecosystem. It's just going to be a very it's going to be, I haven't seen anything like it before, so I'm pumped for how it's going to work out.
Thank you for saying that as well, because it's you know, we keep getting told, you know, we've obviously made taken big risks and all the rest of it, but we're data guys. We know where this is going, and we don't believe in this whole you know, build just for one person, build just for one type. We want to make this as open as possible, and we want to go where the crowd's going. But the really important part about all of that is that, like you say, it isn't easy. And we have people come along and say, oh, that's weak, it looks like PS3. And we're like, thank you. That's a great compliment. I mean, to get that type of performance out of what we're using, that's a fantastic effort. But the thing is, again, so this is the analogy I always give. You imagine a piece of vacant land at a hilltop looking out over the ocean. People can't envisage what could be built on top of it. We're not trying to pretend that we've built anything other than a straw hut. And if people come along and say, I could build a mansion on top of that, that's weak, then we'd say, here's the tools. We'll get out your way. You build something better. The idea of it is us to get the ball rolling, get your imaginations flowing, make you understand what could be done. And then we know you're going to do this better. You're going to put time and effort and energy into it.
Yeah.
We're trying to tell you that we're just a team of people that have an idea. We think the idea is the right idea. We've always thought that. Our job is to as quickly get to the point where you're the people that are doing the creating, and you're the people that are deciding what gets built, not us, because we're only going to have limited scope, imagination. We won't be able to see the forest for the trees. We've got to hand over before it gets to a point where we say, no, you can't touch anything or do anything because you'll ruin it, or you'll get it, you'll do it the wrong. We cannot do that. We've got to go.
Yeah. But just to add to that, it was critical though that we had enough in there that was of high enough quality to set that benchmark from the start. If we didn't have enough content to show people what we expected, then I think that would have been a mistake. So, and again, we're just kind of at that point now. We've got a few really good experiences. The apartments look amazing. I think any creators coming in now can kind of see where we're going and what we want. And like Ben said, we're not going to tell them what to build, but we do have a certain standard that we want to stick to here. We want this to be a really clean looking, high quality environment, and we don't want to compromise on that.
Yeah, no, it's super. It looks super awesome. It really does. Like it's not, and like as I say, even for a 3-year development cycle, that's still, I would consider, good. Like, really, really good. Like really solid for the kind of all the challenges they've had to solve, and even adding the kind of modularity layers kind of at the top and kind of decimated throughout the kind of whole infrastructure of the game is just, super, super cool.
And also we've been also mindful of the, we didn't go out, we never raised, we never did an equity raise. So we've sort of looked at it from day one and said, look, we're on our own. No one's going to support and believe this. And by the time that people do come in and want to support and believe it, and metaverse has become a thing, we need to be in a situation where we can say, thanks, but no thanks. We've got this far on our own. We want to complete what we've done. We don't want someone to come in, throw a massive bag of cash at you and tell you to completely change your direction, because that's not going to please the shareholders. So we've got to sort of get this to a point where it is open and it is a proper interoperable platform as soon as possible.
Yeah, super, super awesome.
One of the things that I know that I have said, just speaking on the behalf of our team and the projects we're working on, was that very similar to what you just said, is that we're the ones who are going to build the metaverse. It's not going to be fucking Facebook or so and so Inc.
Amen.
It's going to be these people right here in this call and the community, and I can't wait for it.
Mate, you're right. And the funny thing, we're knee deep in metaverse, and we've been thinking about this for longer than people have even known it's a thing. And the thing is, we know absolutely nothing about where this is going to go when you start plugging in these creators and where this new layer is going to roll out. Now, if everyone that's building it is building closed environments, it's not going to go that far, and it's not going to go that far that fast as well. So the thing is, anyone who tells you exactly what a metaverse is going to look like in 5 years from now is completely having a lens of you. We know exactly. Yeah. It's all crap. We know what tools are roughly going to be available. We know where the technology is going, but people, you never underestimate what people are capable of if you give them a new set of tools and a new blank space, because they'll come up with stuff that just amazes us. We always have done that as a human race. So I can't wait to see what people can build.
I think it's arrogant to think that you can predict it and you can build exactly what people want, though. I just don't. I think that's quite arrogant. I think our approach of building what we think is, like I said, the quality standard we want, getting a platform stable, and then opening the door for everybody else, I think is the only way to do it. I think building it out yourself is just naive and arrogant.
Yeah.
I think we should go over the sale details and kind of what rarity chances people have and what.
How do I get on this whitelist? I want in.
Actually, there's no whitelist for this public sale. So there's the COGS redemption. There's the people that bought the OGs. It's just a public sale tomorrow. So basically, how it works is that 50% of the apartments. So it's a cool little mechanism. You get a chest which equates to an apartment. It'll get revealed to which quarter you're in. Each quarter has a different law. One quarter's art theme, one's gaming, one's science and tech, and one's music. So you'll get a reveal, and people have their affinity to the law that's been put behind each of these quarters. And then what happens is it will reveal the rarity. So if it hasn't revealed yet, then you're going to get something more rare. But it'll start off with a studio apartment. Studio apartments will be 50% of the supply. It'll go up to a standard, a penthouse, and then a floating apartment. And the floating sky apartments that have lap pools and 2 stories and everything, they're only 1%. So they're actually like super, super rare. So only 1% of those apartments will be that. So what we'll do very shortly is publish what the square meterage is for each of these, because they're customizable. we already are talking to projects that are going to use those as office spaces, as event centers, as meetups and hangout places. So a lot of people will gut those apartments and they won't actually act as apartments for them at all. It's a personal space. So what's important to people is the size of those areas. So they start off with a much smaller space and get right up to a much larger.
And this blew me away. For the people who are redeeming COGS on the 15th, right? And that is a first come, first serve basis as far as like getting in there and redeeming your COGS. You will redeem on Wax, but you guys are going to airdrop on ETH.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm blown away by that. Like I don't think anybody would be able to house that right now on Wax as a team. Really. I don't.
No, we built a thing a long time ago to try and work out how to bring people across to COGS and Wax and all the rest of it. And there was just nothing in the form of bridges. And then the bridges that were out was like one type of ERC token or whatever. And it was like very minimalist. So what we said was we created a thing called COGS Mint Lab, and we started it with the Bored Apes as an example. And if you had a Bored Ape, every month you could mint 5 Bored Ape COGS that were of your Bored Ape. And then those COGS are also being redeemed for apartments. So the thing is that we have worked that out, how to do that both ways, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for Wax ETH. It could be for Solana to AVAX or whatever the case might be, wherever you want to go. But the idea of it was there's so many projects that have brought out NFT collections that don't know how to build a game. They're not going to ever build a metaverse. They don't know how to integrate it. So again, we've had 4 or 5 years to think about this, 5 years now. Yeah. So what we said was we need a mechanism that says if you've got an NFT collection and you're a PFP provider and you've got some crazy art, but you don't know how to go the next step, what we'll do is make a simple tool so that you can mint those into playable discs. And what you could do is then start using those and interject into games, metaverses, and other environments. So we're giving your NFT project instant utility.
Awesome.
It's fucking fire. Sorry, we might have to edit that one out.
We're a little adults here. All right, Kitty, we were going to. Are you ready? We were going to send Kitty into the vault, I think.
Let's go.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time, Josh Bursty. Thank you so much for co-hosting with me. Do y'all have anything more for Ben and Luke before we let them go? Josh, let's go to you.
I think it was super informative. Really, just excited to be able to get in there and have a go. And I know I'll be gearing up for the sale tomorrow. It'll be super cool.
Hell yeah, Bursty, are you ready for the sale?
Yeah. I'm ready for my redemption. I got like 30 sitting there. I got like 30 sitting there ready to go, man. So
we got 30 what?
Just like apartments I can redeem with my tubes.
30 apartments you can redeem.
Close. I'd have to sit down, but it'd be close. Yeah, like my Grim one gets me 4 or 6, something ridiculous right there.
That's awesome.
Okay, we need to talk. We'll have to look through my inventory, see what
I'll be doing something for the community. The community will get one too, and I'll put it over in our community account. And build there. Yeah, I'll do something.
Well played.
Awesome. All right, Ben, Luke, thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. I can't wait. I wish you all of the success in the world, and I know you guys are going to hit it because y'all are building in the bear, and that's what it's about. Those are going to be the ones that last. And so on that note, everybody, thank you so much for watching this, and we're out of here.
You're getting faster than me. Alrighties. Welcome to Fear. Bye.